So I know that there's been a lot of analysis around what's going to happen, what the expectations are for South Africa's political climate, but we have to continue to do that so we can make sense of what we can see, especially when it comes to governance and service delivery in provinces around the country, and in particular focus what's happening in the ANC. It's become a fascinating example of how coalition politics is so important and how some things can turn on the dime, even on just one single seat. And we'll talk about the NFP in just a moment. So I'm going to welcome the director of the School of Government Studies at Northwest University, Professor Kedibone Phago. Prof, good morning to you and welcome. I'm sure that you have been busy, as have the rest of us, in watching these overnight conversations and news conferences as these conversations play out and decisions made around who is going to partner with who. And I talked about politics turning on a dime. The NFP in KwaZulu-Natal now becoming quite an important factor with its one seat and now holding sway on the future of the province. Talk to us about the NFP in this moment in KwaZulu-Natal.
Iman, and thank you for the invitation. Yes, we are seeing very important developments in KwaZulu-Natal, and I think none of us have actually in any way could have predicted what is at play now in seeing the MK party actually getting all those votes. And we know that MK party stands on essentially Jacob Zuma as a person. So it's more like a strongman kind of a politics that we are seeing playing out there. And so it is indeed correct what you are saying, that we want to see which side the NFP party is going to actually go. And this is important because what they are doing, it's not just a question of political alliance or coalitions, but it's actually the choice on whether they want to see the delivery of public services in KwaZulu-Natal. And this is not just a political decision, but it's a governance decision that will tell us whether politicians serve the interest of the people or they serve their own interest. In my own view, I think they need to sober up quite quickly and make a much better decision that does not need any form of dilution politically, but they need to make decisions that will tell us that we still have people that are interested in our livelihoods, in our well-being as a society, and that we can actually go to and say we do have service delivery, we've got governance, we have got education, we've got health, we've got infrastructure problems. So I think it is an important development that we are actually witnessing there in KZN.
I was listening to Velinkosini Hlabisa, who's the IFP leader, on the AM report this morning, and it was very interesting what he said in response to a question about who would definitely, they would definitely perhaps not partner with and would. And just to extract his sentiment, he was saying we have to go with the patterns in which the electorate voted. And I think that was a very important sentiment to express, because one hopes that it is a central factor in how parties decide to partner, not just for their own political survival, but in a way to translate and convey and play centrally the wishes of the people that voted for them. So the IFP has announced discussions underway to potentially form coalitions with the ANC, the DA, and the NFP. Talk to us about their options. We'll get to MK in just a moment, because I think that's really a massive issue we need to deal with as well in terms of their options. But let's focus on the IFP and the potential directions now, which we seem to be getting more confirmation around that they could go in terms of forming that provincial government.
Yes, so I think what I need to say, Iman, is that it's complicated. It's a very complex situation that we are witnessing now. And the complexity is that nobody really understands at this particular point in time the politics of MK party, and that makes it very complex. to try and make sense of where should we go. Is MK Party a left party? Is it a Congress movement? Is it a Jacob Zuma phenomenon? What goals, objectives do they want to achieve? So that makes it much more complex. And this is why, in my view, I think it becomes easier for the ANC, for IFP, for NFP to come together and make the kind of coalitions, because at least they understand each other's politics and some kind of history that they have in the political landscape. So it becomes a little bit easier also for IFP to, while studying what MK Party stands for now to lean towards the current established parties. So I would also do that as a person, because you don't know if within 2 or 3 days you're going to have to go back to the drawing board if you have to lean towards MK Party. Nobody knows what they stand for and what they're going to do. So if I was the IFP leader, I think it would really definitely make sense to immediately say, it would be easier to talk to ANC, because you know where they stand, you know their weaknesses, you know their strength, you know where you can meet them halfway. They also can do that with you. So it makes sense, I think, in what IFP is trying to do with the current complexity.
Yeah. Let's go to MK then. They've got 37 seats, and we know the provincial or the KwaZulu-Natal legislature has 80 seats on offer. So, they could go with the EFF, which has 2 seats, and maybe this is where the NFP could also play a role. Again, nothing, as far as I know, nothing's really been inked, as in a formal announcement around which way these partnerships are going to sway. But talk to us about the position that they find themselves in today. As you say, those who would want to partner with them, there might be some ambiguities around either the manifesto or the lack of detail around that, or the direction that they would go in on many different levels, politically, economically. So where are they today? This is the MK.
Iman, it takes many years to actually understand what a particular political party stands for and what are their politics. And for the mere fact that MK Party is a disruptor in our political landscape, and they've actually even gotten a lot of seats in KZN, confuses all the players there. And so it is upon the MK Party itself to assert their position and to actually explain what they stand for. And because, in my view, they are failing to do that at the moment, it is going to be very difficult to actually consolidate their position in that legislature and say, this is what we want to do and this is how we want to do it. And that in itself can actually even, I think in the next local government elections, we will even now see if this MK Party factor is really something we should watch going forward, or it is collapsing. I don't know if we can predict that, but for me, the indicators are going to be the next local government elections that are coming. But for now, Iman, it's anybody's guess on what is really going to happen in that legislature. But I think it is upon the MK Party to make a decision on what they stand for and sell that to the current political parties. It is my view that if people have contested for elections and have received so many votes, it is upon them to then come back to people and say, this is what we want to do for the KwaZulu-Natal people. We're able to do that. I'm not seeing that. I'm just seeing the politics of disruption. I'm seeing the politics of protest when they are supposed to be taking leadership responsibilities and roles and say, we have received so many votes, we are not able to constitute a KZN government by ourselves, but we would love parties that would come on board and help us to do 1, 2, 3.
Yeah.
I'm not getting that. I'm not seeing that. And because that is not happening, this is probably why some parties like IFP, who could actually help consolidate that for MK, are doubtful on whether they should come to on board to help MK do what they want to do for the people of KZN.
Professor Kedibone Phago, thank you very much. The country awaits, and we are waiting for that moment to exhale when the business of constituting a government is behind us. We know who the executive is going to be, and we can get back to the business of actually running the country and doing the things, as you say, that would be in the public interest, especially when it comes to services. So thank you very much for talking to us.